to say thank you to Shaq. 65% of what you see in this museum, we rented from Shaq, and it's unbelievable. We also want to thank this man right here, Dale Smith. He put his heart and soul into this and helped curate the whole thing. And has everybody, let's see, has everybody been to Shaq before? The Surfing Heritage and Cultural Center? If you haven't been there, get there. It's awesome. Bruce Brown, yeah, we just had the Bruce Brown there. So Don Ramsey, this guy shows up and makes it happen every single time. I see a lot of the Surfing Circle of Honor people here, and he, unbelievable. I want to say thank you to his family, and thank you, Don, for everything. He's also the International Surfboard Builders Event Executive Director. So, not executive, director. And he makes it all happen as well. Jim Miller, if you go in the bathroom and it's all painted, he did the dirty work. He did the dirty work. He made it happen. Big time. Yeah, and the paint, right? And Dave Reynolds, God bless him. If he wasn't, we got two Dave Reynolds. Bring up the other Dave Reynolds. He's volunteered too. He did a lot of the curating. We started and got this done in 2 weeks. From paint, taking everything down. We said farewell. Eddie went, and we brought in the SURF2SKATE, which is absolutely amazing. Isn't it mind-blowing, you guys? It's just unreal. And I'd like to also recognize Don Bigelow. Biggie in the house. He was up there with grills, and I mean, if you look around it, every single thing is bolted into the wall here, and it was thanks to Dave and Biggie. And Priscilla. Oh my gosh, she's those cupcakes out there. It was amazing. And then Dave's wife Kelly as well. So and then we have our other Dave Reynolds, who you heard playing the music. So I also want to take a second, Mike, to no, I'm saving the best for last, dude. Come on up, Mike. Yeah. So I want everybody to know, if you don't know Mayor Mike Posey, he's been awesome in supporting us from the Surfing Circle of Honor to SURF2SKATE exhibit. I just wanted you to say a few words, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. And yeah, Barbara Del Glaze is here too. Former mayor last year from Huntington Beach. Yeah, shut up, Barbara. So yeah, I wanted to welcome everybody to SURF2SKATE. What a great exhibit. I love the museum. Two things I love about it, of course, is the surf music. So I like to come to listen to surf music. I'm not that great of a surfer. A little bit of a nerd. I know it's kind of a shock to some of you guys. But I did skate. So when I was a kid, I skated. I've been kind of looking at all the boards, and I haven't seen a Sims, because Sims was the board that I rode. And back when I rode a skateboard, it was before you had to wear a helmet and knee pads and elbow pads. So you can imagine that some of the injuries we suffered. And looking at some of the photographs, when we were skating in pools, we thought getting the two front wheels out was really, that was daring. But it's nothing compared to what these kids do today. So it's very exciting. Welcome. Thanks again. Also, Dave Reynolds, what a great guitar player.
Yeah,
really. That was great. So very good sound. So thanks. Good night, and I'll see you later.
Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, Barbara, would you mind saying a few words? You've been instrumental with us from the Surfing Circle of Honor to today, and it's just really, I mean,
thank you. I'd love to. To all the Circle of Honor folks out there, what an exciting thing that we got to participate in and got the whole community. And Diana, we can't say enough for you getting it started. And that wonderful megaphone that she used, right? You know, but in all seriousness, this is really the heart of who we are right here downtown. Yes. And thank you. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for supporting the museum. And we're just going to make it better. So,
thank you folks very much. Okay, so get ready. I don't know if this is a surprise to many of you, but we are blessed to have Jeff Ho in the house. And Alan Sarlo. If you guys can come on up, give it up for both of them. They're going to be on the red couch. And we have Dave Reynolds interviewing them. I do want to say special thanks to Duke's. They brought food over for us. Rip Beer donated 100% of beer and pizza, which will be here any minute. So let's give them a great big yeah. And if we can make way for Jeff Ho and Alan Sarlo, that would be great. I know the Groms are back there attacking you guys. And then we can get this party started. Okay, so let's give it up one more time for Jeff Ho and Alan Scarlow. These guys are legends. And for you Groms out there, these are the guys you want to ask all there is to surf and skate. So there's a big background here. Where's Dave? There he is. So Dave Reynolds is going to take over from here, and then we're going to have a few more other fun things going on. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm Diana Dean, the Executive Director of the Surfing Museum. Glenn, did you hear we gave the shout out for Shaq? Good. Okay. So here we go.
It's okay.
Take it away. Okay.
All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and not to be a downer, I'd like to have a moment of silence for a good friend of the museum we just lost. Yeah, Brenda Berry. She passed away on the 1st, and we want to say a word for Sumo too, another good friend of the museum. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's still around, but he needs our support still, and his family's been going through a lot. All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it. I took a bunch of notes today. I watched the Dogtown documentary, did a little Wikipedia searches, tried to learn a few things, and one of the interesting things I learned today was what Zephyr means. Who came up with the Zephyr name and logo?
I came up with the name, and I came up with the logo, and the name Zephyr is the god of the west wind, or it is the west wind,
Right.
and that comes from Greek mythology.
Yeah.
The symbol or the logo is the sign of the waxing crescent moon, and you know the moon has a direct relationship to the tides,
Yeah.
and so that was one of the things that I felt really strongly when I was like younger, and I adopted that symbol.
Well, it's a good one. It's on a lot of stuff now, a lot of surfboards. Yeah. And
Thank you.
well, I wanted to ask you guys, when did you first start surfing, and when did you first start skateboarding? Both of you guys.
Did you want to talk to me or Alan
Yeah.
first?
Both of you. Come on, Alan.
Go, Alan.
When did you first ride a skateboard? What year do you think?
In the early 70s, but I first started surfing. My dad was a lifeguard at Venice Beach, and so I just grew up underneath the lifeguard tower and in the back of the lifeguard truck, and we used to drive up and down Santa Monica Beach at Bay Street, and there was Jeff Ho, and he was a little older, and my older brother, and so my older brother knew Jeff, so I kind of eased into the program through my older brother, and it was at an early age. I think I was at 9-10 years old.
Describe your first skateboard.
My first skateboard, we made it, oak skateboard, we made it, and we hacksawed the wheels off of rollerblades, and they were steel wheels, and we screwed them on to a skateboard, and I think I made it.
How'd that work?
Not very good.
It sounds kind of hokey.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Jeff?
Okay. Yeah, hold it up a little bit. Okay.
What about you?
Okay.
Your first skateboarding experience?
My first skateboarding experience was probably in the 50s, and honestly, I started skating before there were production skateboards. Actually, what I was doing first was I was using those metal roller skates that Dale has against the wall over there, and then I made one into like a scooter, and then after that, knocked the handle off it and flipped it around, and was skating on the.
Did you see other kids doing that?
I think that the thing that happened was television was just starting in the 50s, and so we got a TV, and there was this thing called Spanky and Our Gang. And I might have seen like one of those scooters on that show and thought, oh, okay, I can do this, you know, and that's how I started skating. And
First surfing experience, first surfboards, both you guys. This is all surf and skate.
Yeah, okay. My dad was a lifeguard at Venice Beach, and he basically pushed me into a little wave on a paddleboard, and I rode it in, and it was amazing. And right then I knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. So that was in the mid-60s.
What about your first surfboard?
Oh, first surfboard is a funny story. There was it was Stingray. It was a shop that did auto repair, but the guy in his love was making surfboards. So he repaired cars, and in the back had a shaping room. And so I bought my first surfboard, I think, for $65 for Christmas. It was a Christmas. My birthday's January 9th. So I talked my dad into Christmas and birthday present was my first surfboard. It was
Awesome.
a Stingray, though. That was a famous.
That was the brand?
Yeah, it was a famous shop because the guy was like a heavy-duty automotive repair guy and hot rod guy. He was a full greaser, and he made surfboards in the back of his shop.
Was he a surfer?
He was a surfer greaser guy, so it was pretty cool.
Awesome. What about you, Jeff?
First surfing experience. It was like down in Santa Monica, down at the end of Pico. And remember, I was one of those little rugrat guys who sometimes didn't go to school, and I'd go to the beach, and I'd hang out, and some of the older guys had boards. So I just said, can I borrow one of those? Let me try one of those. And then I think that the first time that I really got a wave was on the north side of the Santa Monica Pier. And that's really kind of where I think I stood up and I turned. I was trying down at the end of Pico there, but you know,
I still remember mine.
the boards were really big then.
Yeah.
We had a surf break on the north side of Santa Monica Pier, and in the summertime, these perfect lefts would come off the end of it or the side of it, and it was like a perfect left sandbar. And Jeff would come down, and all the kids would just like be in awe of him. And he had super progressive, super light, super short surfboards, and it was right when surfing was changing, and we used to just like be awed in Jeff, and he was just so innovative that it was like a miracle, a blessing. It was everything we wanted, and he was doing it. So we were like, all the kids were so stoked back then, and we just magnetized towards him.
Hey, what made you, Jeff, to decide to shape a surfboard? Were you handy with tools? Did you do it in your garage? Did you have to do it? Did you want to do it?
I was impulsive. I was impulsive when I was younger, and so you knew that I was already, making skateboards when I was, I probably was like 6 or 7 years old, 8, when I was really young. I was in there, playing with tools. I mean, that was one of my things. So the surfboards started up when I learned how to stand up on a board, and I started to surf, and then I was going to school, and I was thinking, you know what? I can do, oh, wait a minute. It was the Gidget movie that started me. Okay? There was this Gidget movie. And that was the Gidget movie. And what happened was, they were at Malibu and everybody was surfing. Gidget comes down and, there's a bunch of guys hanging around at a beach shack and they're making surfboards on the beach. And I was going like, oh, that's something I want to do.
right?
I mean, I'm surfing, so I'm thinking I'm gonna start making boards. And the first board that I really made was a belly board. And then I graduated and I was thinking, okay, I can get a bigger blank. But the first one I was trying to make, I didn't know that you couldn't use urethane resin on an EPS blank. So I had an EPS blank and I glassed it and it melted. So then I took that one, I had to throw that one away. But I kept on, you know, when I got some more money, I got a blank, and actually it was off the beach. I got one off the beach.
You were shaping on the beach.
No, the board was on. I found a blank on a board on the beach.
You stripped the board. You stripped it.
And then I took it home and I said, these guys are trying to burn this in the fire rings.
Surf sacrifice, huh?
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
And so I took it home, and that's what I made my first board out of.
You stripped the fiberglass off of it?
Well, and then I added some more foam. You know how you add foam, you know, here and there, and
So you got
I
a free surfboard off the beach, you went home and you reshaped it.
And I reshaped it and added some more foam to it, and glassed it, and that's really the first surfboard. And then I started.
Did you put your name on it?
Logo?
Come on. Okay, let's move on. What's the next question?
Okay. We all know you opened up your Zephyr shop in '73.
I'm hoping that's the right year, but go ahead.
I read that today.
Okay, some of the stuff's not, the dates may not be right, but go ahead.
Well, it said '73 through '76.
I can't, you know, it could have been, the dates could have been a little different, but yes, go ahead.
Well, just so everybody knows, that same building was designated a city landmark, and now it's called Dogtown Coffee.
Correct.
Is the coffee any good there?
I don't know. I won't go there and drink it. There's a whole story behind what happened at that surf shop, and then getting it deemed as a cultural landmark. And one of the things was that, you know, I was for them, you know, making it a landmark. And what happened was, I was, you know, if you're for it, then the landlords, all they wanted to do was rip it down and build like a 3-story mixed-use commercial building with condos and whatever there. And so she wasn't happy with me to say that. And so when I tried to lease it, I couldn't get the lease. I couldn't do it. So someone else got that whole section of property, and here we are today, and now it's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It would, if I would have got it, I would have made it a surf shop again. But that didn't happen.
Who were the first guys to start making fiberglass skateboards? Was that going on? Because I know yours were a little bit better than
Fiberglass,
everybody
yes.
else's.
Okay, Bill Bain was the first guy who made a fiberglass skateboard, a production one that was out on the market. And Bill was a friend of mine, and so we, I used to sell the Cadillac wheels and, you know, and the fins. Bill's in the surfboard business, and he was making fin boxes and fins. So I used to use his fins and boxes, and I would go down to his factory all the time and pick my stuff up. But then one day he showed me a skateboard. He goes, "This is what we're making. We're thinking that this is going to be the thing." And it was that extruded fiberglass board, and he had the Chicago trucks and the Cadillac wheels because he had the distribution for it. And I that's kind of after I saw his, then I thought, well, okay, I need to make one. I need to have one. And his had a little bit more flex, and I was looking for a fiberglass that wouldn't flex as much, but still have. And then I designed it, and we wanted to make like a low center of gravity, and there you go.
Well, yours, as far as I remember, yours was the first skateboards that had a little bit of a rocker on them.
Yeah, the rocker that gave it a low center of gravity, and
Yeah, you had stiffeners.
What?
Stiffeners along the rails.
Oh yes, and then there was like the I-beam and the rails, and the two dugout sections on the sides of the I-beam was to lighten the board, but still give it like a flex, a fiberglass flex, but kind of a damp flex, so that it wouldn't like spring down and really bounce back, so that the board had a little bit, but not that real springy flex that would you would just fly off.
Give you speed wobbles.
Whatever. So that was the thing behind the panels under the bottom of the board.
Well, I grew up skating in the 70s too, and the Dogtown
Nice.
guys would show up at the fruit bowl, and we were all pissed off at them because they had figured out how to kick turn and stay in the pool. I mean, we were just able to get over the light, and we were like stoked.
Right.
These guys show up, and they're like staying in the pool for 30 or 40 seconds. And
We had more pools to skate on.
yeah, oh, you did. You guys
We
did.
had more pools. It was the drought. The drought. There was no rain for a few years, so they emptied all the pools in Santa Monica and Brentwood, and so we skate all the pools.
Awesome. Are both of you guys still surfing now? I know he is.
Yeah, of course.
What's your surf spot?
Anywhere where there's good waves.
South Bay?
Anywhere where there's good waves.
Hawaii?
Anywhere where there's
Malibu.
anywhere. I'll surf anywhere, just as long as if the waves
I got
are
a
good.
funny
or
story.
I'm there, whatever.
I got a funny. If there's a good south swell at Malibu, I'm like sitting out on the top of the point, and the only guy sitting further out past me is Jeff. So I got to make sure that he's not going on that wave.
Well, I could have a water.
So I got to make sure he's going or not going on the wave, so I can catch the next wave. He's the only guy like okay, he's going.
Alan's got. I call it with Alan's bowl, and he'll sit in there.
Yeah, Chewy.
You're late.
Come on up. Another skate celebrity, Chewy Madrigal, downhill skater.
Yeah.
So the lineup spots really haven't like changed at Malibu, and the waves, they're good.
He still
they're good.
takes off.
I love the waves.
biggest wave.
I love the waves.
He still takes off on the biggest waves and the deepest. And he's flying past everybody.
Well, Alan's no slacker at Malibu either. I mean, I've never seen a guy on a shortboard get that many freaking waves as this guy.
Speaking about surfboards, Jeff is the only person on planet Earth that's been inducted in the Surfboard Shaper Hall of Fame and the Skateboard Hall of Fame.
Ah,
So we
no
have
way.
to-
That is.
No, but I think there's some other guys, Alan. I really do. Yeah, there's other people.
I don't know it.
I don't know. There's other guys, and
Alan was actually.
Name one. Yeah, exactly.
no. Come on now, Bill Bain. He's inducted this year.
But not in the Surfboard Shaper Hall of Fame.
Is Bill in the Surfboard Hall of Fame? Bain? Okay. Who else is in there? Come on, Chewy. You know everything. Come on,
You and Bill Bain, that's it.
All right. Okay.
List is short.
In case you people didn't know, Surfer Magazine officially claimed that Alan Sarlo was the first guy to kill a wave. Do you remember what year that was?
I think it was in 75, but it was because of Jeff. Jeff told me to go out there and hit the lip as many times as possible. And I said, I could do that. I could do that. So the Jeff Ho surf team was all about rip, shred, and tear as much as possible, and that's what he gave me the strict orders to go out there and rip, shred, and tear.
And you followed orders.
I followed orders.
So good for you. And here we have Chewy Madrigal. That
If you want to catch the waves at Malibu, you gotta ask permission from Mr. Sarlo over there. And he shot the pier 2 years ago. The big waves. And I'm glad I'm your friend so I can get waves. Anyway.
Hey, Chewy, tell us about your downhill skating days and your movie career. Come on.
Well, I've been in a couple movies about skateboarding. Actually, we were in this movie called Skateboard, which is the first time that big Hollywood ever did a movie. It was Universal Studios, and there was a whole bunch of us in it. Except Jeff doesn't like to be in the movies, so come on, dude. Actually, stop. I can't tell him you're my hero. He's my hero too.
Hey, Chewy, how many broken bones?
Only one time I fell and I broke my arm.
Just that one time I saw in your downhill movie. What's the name of that movie?
There was a place. It was sort of like my secret spot. It was called, No Ranch Road in Anaheim Hills. And that was a pretty fast place. So like Sam Hawk told me that he'd rather ride giant waves than to ride that hill. So it was pretty scary. And I broke my arm.
And then you fell at the Signal Hill contest.
Yeah, but I didn't break my arm in that one. That was easy. At this place, I broke my arm because Dave Gilbert, I had a little stronger legs than Dave, so I had he tightened the skateboard truck way too much, and I didn't need that much tightening. And when I went down the hill, I couldn't make the turn because the skateboard wheels, the skateboard truck was too tight. But anyway, you know what? These guys are our guests from Malibu, and I think that they got a good story. That you probably heard all my stories from me. so Alan and Jeff, they got some good stories.
I got a funny story.
Let's hear it.
They used to blackball surfing at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock every day in the summertime. And the us kids, would get in all kinds of trouble after 10 o'clock. You know, we'd surf in the morning, and then if they blackballed, we'd be all pissed off, and we'd like throw rocks through windows, and we'd break cars. You know,
Really?
we did all kinds of crazy stuff. So my dad was a cop, a Culver City cop, and he went down to the city of Santa Monica with Jeff and a bunch of guys from the Jeff Ho Surf Shop, and we got a designated spot open for surfing like 7 days a week, all day long. And it happened to be right in front of the Jeff Ho Surf Shop.
Oh,
so
man.
it was like magic. And I was a young kid. I was like, it was actually my older brother and my dad, and I was like 12 years old. So I got like, I got granted into the boys club, and we got to watch Jeff surf after 10 o'clock.
Hey Jeff, tell us about your art influences. Your art career.
Well, my art career, you know, I really want to say that Leonardo da Vinci and, you know, some of those, you know, the cave drawings, the cave drawings, and that's kind of what kind of drives me on, is that, you know, back, I guess, I don't know how many years ago, you know, all they had was, you know, berries and things to draw on the walls. So it's kind of fun to take a paint can and draw on the walls, or paint the walls. So yeah, that's kind of, you know.
Hey, we're going to take some questions from the audience, but first I want to ask you guys, in a nutshell, what would you like your legacy to be? Your legacy. both you guys. You first, Alan. What would you like your legacy to be after you leave this planet? What would you like them to think about?
Really, that's a.
I'm not leaving.
No, I know you're not.
Really want
I'm not leaving for a long
to go
time.
anywhere.
Hey, I think about my legacy.
I'd like to be a good father, a good husband, a great surfer at Malibu. I like to say that the sky's the limit. My dad always said, aim for the stars and you hit the moon. And obviously a member of the SURF2SKATE surf team and a great surfer at Malibu and I don't know, just a good guy.
This guy's like an expert kite surfer and a foil boarder too. So
Just, you know.
and he just
I
turned
think-
60.
Yeah, just turned 60. I think surfing is the fountain of youth. We've all found the fountain of youth in surfing, and just to love the sport. And I'm a second generation. My dad was a lifeguard at Santa Monica Beach, and then I'm a second generation. I have 2 great kids that surf. So
That's a good
yeah,
legacy.
just a good pioneer of the sport.
Hey, a nutshell, Jeff.
In a nutshell, it's just that, you know, I'd like to have the same thing that Alan has, you know, and you know, I'm really happy to have seen like the surfing and skating and how it's evolved to the point where, you know, it was like there were no production skateboards until now. There's like a whole industry of surfing and skateboards, and you know, it's going to the Olympics. It's going to be it's a worldwide cultural thing. And when I was growing up, it was really kind of a rough thing, you know. If you wanted to be a surfer or a skater, you know, it was kind of really looked down on. But now we have generations of people, and I'm hoping that it passes down to the younger kids. And I guess that's something that I'd love to see, and I'd love to hang around and see that. And I don't know if that's a legacy, but you know, there you go. But
I know what Jeff's biggest legacy is that Jeff Ho is not a sellout. This guy is hardcore.
The real deal.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Sony
I know he is.
Pictures wanted to do a movie about him, and he said no. And then Nike wanted to buy his logo, and he said no. This man is not a sellout. He's hardcore.
Okay,
I don't know about all that, Alan.
we want to take a few questions
I do.
from the audience.
All right, guys, I got a question for you. She's going to run away. What would you say to the Groms of today that want to surf and skate or heading down the path of surf and skate? And Jeff, you brought up the Olympics. What would you say to them?
Well, I would encourage them because I would say surf and skate all you want, you know, if that's something that you really enjoy doing, and if you know, have a passion for it, I would encourage that. I would say, you know, go ahead. And, you know, since we know that everything is going to be in the surfing and skating is going to be in the Olympics, why not have that Olympic dream? Why not have the dream of becoming the best surfer or the best skateboarder and representing the country, representing the U.S., representing California? You know, I don't know what else to say about it, but I'm stoked. I'm happy for it, you know, and I really want to see it. And I know that there's some young kids that are gonna really make it. I don't know who they are, you know, and they're out there and they're all over the world. But it would really be great if there was some kids that came from here, Huntington Beach, Venice, California, whatever. It'd be great.
Well, and you're such an inspiration for all of them. Thank you so much. I mean,
You're welcome.
seriously,
Thank
you
you.
guys. These two are the I don't even want to say grandfathers, but you guys led the way. You know what I mean? You
Look
did.
at this. That's all.
So Jeff, and I'm coming to you next, Alan. So if you would have had the chance to go for the Olympics, would you have tried it?
When I was younger?
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, kids in the younger generation, like even Alan's generation, you know, they could do things that I couldn't do because they had equipment and they had people to nurture them and bring them along, and they had other examples and role models and stuff. And that's what I see. I see that the younger kids now have a greater amount of resources, and that's really cool. And it's become a cultural thing, not just it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to be able to see. If there's any Groms or any students that want to come front row, come on up, you guys. You get to meet Alan Sarlo and Jeff Ho. Groms in the house, come on up. Pretty cool. So, Alan, tell us what you think about the future of skate and surf and regarding the Olympics.
Well, I think the sky's the limit. I think, airs. I think the young kids, if they get good coaching and they just push their ability, because that's what Jeff taught me. He taught me to push it. He wanted us to shred, tear, and surf radical. Our word was radical back then, hit the lip and tight turns and everything. He wanted us to be radical surfers, radical skaters. So I think that if you could push your limits here, but if you could go here, then you're getting somewhere. So then, because you compete in the Huntington Beach area and your crowd's here, but if you could compete in the California, you're here, and then if you could compete in the world, you're up here. So you have to strive for up here. So,
and the other thing is that the Olympics are going to be coming to LA in 2028.
yeah.
So then you got to look at that, and you got to hope that some of the young kids now will be able to be in those Olympics. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
The next U.S. Open, they should have Jeff narrate the skate contest and some of the surf contests, or have him as a guest appearance. Yeah, let's get real, right?
Ellen, I think you're onto something.
We look forward to working closer with them in the future to share exhibits like this, because they will be moving all around the country. So welcome and thank you for it.
All right. It's a bad thing to give me the mic, but yeah, 1 minute. It'll take me less than a minute, and I'll have Dawn is now my Vanna White. All right. Anybody who's in the back who's not listening, you guys might want to look up here for just a second. Last weekend, on Saturday night at Surfing Heritage and Culture Center in San Clemente, we did an honor for Bruce Brown. Anybody here hear the movie Endless Summer? All right, that wasn't even close to enough, but I'm gonna let it go. All right, so we all know the Endless Summer. We know that the Endless Summer actually changed American culture in the 1960s. The Endless Summer actually is one of those things that all of us hold in our heart. It's an iconic, not only a movie, but it's a part of what we do as surfers. So, Surfing Heritage and Culture Center has been working with the state senator from Malibu, Henry Stern, who is our sponsor at the state senate level, to get a special interest plate for the Endless Summer, the proceeds of which will go to Surfing Heritage and Culture Center museums and your museum as well, for that matter. So, if you have not seen it yet, and if you haven't gone to the website, you might want to go sign up for it, because the people who sign up for the Endless Summer plate now are going to be the first people who are informed in approximately October, when the DMV, California Highway Patrol, everybody gives all of their okays, and you will be able to get the Endless Summer plate on your car. So we already know that Don and the Cowabunga Van Clan already have reserved about 5,000 of them. And all of the Woody clubs, those guys have another 10,000 or so, but nonetheless, you guys need to get in on it. So, Endless Summer, special interest plate, money going back to sharing surfing's history and culture with future generations. So, thank you guys.